Welcome to Tabletop Gaming Guild. Tabletop Gaming Guild is all about the experiences and memories that playing games with friends and families can create. On this episode, we will be talking about character creation in D&D. This discussion will be led mostly by our resident expert on D&D, the one that knows everything there is to know about Peter Beck.
For those of you, which is all of you who cannot see, I am air quoting expert for sure. So we're gonna make characters tonight, guys, because hopefully in the next few weeks or so, we're actually gonna get to play some D&D together. And for us to play D&D together, you need to have characters so that I can kill them. So, oh wait, sorry.
Oh man!
No, I apologize.
You spoiled the ending.
I spoiled the ending. So we're gonna make some characters tonight, and we are going to be using the D&D Beyond character creator process because it is a very easy, smooth process, especially for us, since we're not in the same room, we're at a distance from each other, and we don't have to we can't share books and all those wonderful things. It is a free online resource. You set up a free account, and you are allowed to create up to 6 characters on the website. It will store them for you. They even recently added a dice rolling program into the web page that anybody can use. So we're going to go ahead and check that out and make some characters. And Dan and Nathan, you both have played D&D before, right?
Oh yeah.
I have not really. I've watched a lot of D&D related content. I've had 2 first start to a campaign where we really didn't get into depth into it.
Okay.
But that's about it.
Okay. But Dan, you've played some a while back.
Yeah, I played, and I ran D&D back in 2nd and 3 and 3.5 edition. This might be the first time I'm creating a character for 5th, actually.
Okay. Fantastic. So, so we've all got our D&D Beyond accounts webpage up, and so we're all going to go to the character creation page, and when you get to their page, dndbeyond.com, and you go to their character builder, you will see that you have 3 methods of character creation to choose from. Does everybody see those 3 methods?
Yes.
So we've got our standard option, we've got a quick build, and we've also got our randomize. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go with the standard. We're going to click that. And this is where on D&D Beyond, if you do not have a paid account or you've not purchased any of the D&D rule books on the website, it will limit you to what you can make your character, because certain things are only available in the paid books. And so what they give you here with a free account is you only gain access to the basic rules. And so in the basic rules, you're limited to a few different classes and races and all of those things. So so we're here where it's going to say character name, and I think it's funny that they put character name at the beginning, because until I start making a character, I don't really know what their name's going to be. So I usually leave that blank for a little while.
In what kind of situation might you want to use a quick build or randomize?
So Quick Builder Randomize is actually kind of fun. So this last weekend I ran a game for my wife and a friend. And my wife loves to play, but she doesn't like making characters. She feels like it's a lot of work, and she just wants to get to the playing. And so this past weekend she said, okay, I know what class and race I want, but anything else I don't really care. I don't want to roll for the stats. I just give me the character. And so if you go to the randomize, it will allow you to you can just totally randomize and just click the button and it will just make a character for you. Or you can say, I want it to be level 1 and I want it to be this race and this class, and then click random, and then it randomly assigns your stats and your background and your starting equipment and all that stuff. So if you just want to get into the game, if you just want to have a character to play, randomize can be an option. Plus, it's kind of fun because it will not optimize your character for you. Your stats will be junk sometimes. So if you're looking to play a non-maxed character, that might be the way to go, because you're just going to get a character, you're going to read through what the computer gives you, and then that's what you're stuck with. And that can be kind of fun too, because most of the time when we make characters, we do everything we can to max out that character's potential. And as cool as that can be, because again, we're playing D&D because we want to be heroes, it can be interesting to have a character who has their own flaws and their own way that they're not the archetypal character or class. So that's one reason to maybe use Randomize.
Yeah, I could definitely see the interest in like playing a rogue with like a terrible dexterity, or playing an elf that's not any of the classes that you would normally associate with elf. I don't know what that would be, but barbarian. I don't know.
You might choose to be a barbarian, but all of a sudden you hit Randomize and your strength is 8. So that would not be good, but it would be interesting to find out. No, like I'm a barbarian, but I can't lift my warhammer ever. He wants to be a barbarian, but he just can't quite pull it off. So yeah, so there's just some interesting things there. But making the characters on here can be pretty straightforward and simple. And so I guess as we go through the process, when you have questions or when you have any thoughts, just throw them in there and I'll do my best to kind of help you through the process.
Well, I guess we've got to decide how we're making our characters as we scroll through the website here. Like just some of the options I see on the first page is like advancement type and like hit point type.
So for right now, when I run a campaign, usually for the advancement type, I choose milestone, which just pretty much means that as we go through the game, when we hit a pivotal moment and you complete the task or whatever, I can say, all right, guys, you level up. And we're not worrying about experience points that you might have gained, like you would have played in your Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Like every single goblin you killed was experience points. Every gold piece you found might have been experience points. 5th edition has, over time, seemed to get further and further away from XP. A lot of the people that I've played with, and it focuses more on the idea of milestone or story-based leveling. So that's usually the one that I go with when I'm creating a character on here, just because that's the kind of game that I run. Yeah. So, because they do have, the idea of experience points in 5th edition. It just seems like most of the people that I play with don't play that way. And I think at least from my understanding, it leans away from the idea sometimes of murder hobos who are just out there to destroy everything to gain all the XP, and lends itself to be maybe a little bit more open to the idea of let's really role play and lean into that. Maybe I don't want to fight these people. Maybe I just want to talk to them and win them onto my side. And even that is a good thing, which again, you can give XP for that as well. But I just tend to go with the milestone, and then every so often I get to look at you and be like, yay, we get to level up.
Cool.
So yeah. And then below advancement type, you'll see hit point type. And hit point type, I usually go with fixed. And that is when leveling up increase hit points by a fixed value for your chosen class, or manually enter a rolled value. So when you level, you have the choice of taking a specific value and level up your character's hit points. Or you're going to roll a die, and whatever that die says is how many hit points you get. So again, it's a little push your luck, because the fixed value is the average. So if your hit die is a D8 and you're going to level up, then your fixed value is going to be 5 plus your Constitution modifier. But if you roll, you have the opportunity to maybe roll a 6, 7, or 8. But you also have the opportunity of rolling a 4, 3, 2, or 1. And so I am not a gambler. I take my fixed value every time.
I hear it. I hear that. I'm absolutely terrible when luck needs to be done for myself. I can be very lucky for other people, but for myself, I'm terrible.
Absolutely. But again, this is not something like whenever I run a game, I don't tell people how to make their characters, really. So if you want to have a fixed value, go with it. If you want to roll for it every time, go for it. But it is always funny when everyone is up to like 6th or 7th level and you start to see everybody's hit points really go up, but there's that one person whose hit points are still really low, and you look at them and you're like, why is your hit point so low? He's like, I roll every time, and I roll a 2 like most of the time. But that's the way the game goes, and if that's the way you want to play it. But again, you have the opportunity, the chance to maybe get a better advancement to your hit points. But we know the way the dice work, man. There's an average for a reason. So
Well, I suppose if you do play for like 4 to 5 years, you're gonna hit that average eventually.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. That's the trouble with the rolling part. You might not hit that average on a single character.
Yeah. So it's up to you guys, but advancement type, I would choose milestone. Hit point type, I would go ahead and choose fixed.
That's fine by me.
Yeah.
Then underneath that, you'll see use prerequisites. Go ahead and leave both of those on, and that's for feats and multi-class requirements. And that is just so that the computer knows later on if you decide to take a feat instead of a ability score improvement, it will make sure that you have all of the prerequisites to actually take that feat or not.
So that's one of the little confusing things here. Is it seems like red is on in D&D Beyond?
Yes. So if it's red, it's on. If it's gray, it's off. And the way that I try to really think about it is if the circle is on the left-hand side of the toggle, then it's off. And if it's on the right-hand side of the toggle, it's on. And the reason I think of that is because in English, we read from left to right. And when things are off, it's left. And when it's on, it's right. But yeah, it seems a little weird. You would think if they're going to choose red, then the opposite would be green, not gray. But go figure. D&D Beyond for you.
Well.
So, and then show level scaled spells. We can leave that on. And then encumbrance type. You can choose to use encumbrance, no encumbrance, or variant encumbrance. And I usually use no encumbrance. For those of you who are listening and maybe you've never played D&D and you're wondering what is encumbrance, and that means depending on how strong your character is or how big they are, they're only allowed to carry so much weight in their backpacks before your speed slows down. I personally have never run a game where I continually ask the players, how much weight are you carrying? No, you're going slower than you thought you were. Just because there's a lot of, it's very fiddly to have to sit there and look over everybody's character sheets and make sure that they're keeping track of it. As long as you're not carrying 50 Warhammers, it's probably okay. So normally I go ahead and choose the no encumbrance option on this, but again, that is completely up to you. If you want to stick to the rules as written, and you want to make sure that no, I chose to pick up those 50 Warhammers, I should definitely go slower. That is completely up to you.
All right, yeah, that's fine. I'll roll with no encumbrance. I very rarely used it as well when I was running.
So, yeah, that seemed just more like a pain than it's worth.
Yeah. So, and something that we did skip at the top of the page, just for the listeners who are maybe jumping onto D&D Beyond and they see it and they don't know why we didn't talk about it. At the very top is sources. It says allow or restrict sources to be used for this character, and that just lists all the different types of content that D&D Beyond has on it. And it should start with like most of those turned off, but it will have a couple turned on. You can turn them off, turn them on, whatever you want, but it will only give you that content if you have purchased it. Even if you click to turn it on, it's still gonna limit you to certain things. So I just wanted to mention that. But once we have all of the things chosen that we want, then we're just gonna press that blue next box to take us to the next page.
Did we talk about ability score modifier?
We will in just a little bit. So it's going to take us through 5 steps. We're going to choose our race, we're going to choose our class, and then we're going to choose our abilities. And at the abilities, that's where we're going to find out about modifiers, and we're going to decide how we want to get our ability scores. Are we going to take the standard array of numbers, or are we going to roll some dice to find out how our different abilities?
Oh, so this option here just is telling you where it shows up on your page. It's not right.
Right, yeah. So yeah, it's just telling you kind of where it's going to be at for where you want to see it. So.
Okay. Yep. We're good.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and click that blue next box, and it takes us to the very first page, and that is where we're going to choose our race. And some people are starting to call it rather than using the word race, people are using ancestry. So as you know, it's where your people are from and what type of creature you are. And so D&D 5th edition uses the word race, but I know a lot of RPGs are starting to use the word ancestry instead. So they're meant to be interchanged here in this game. Let me know, guys, what you see on your side, because I have the full array of source books on D&D Beyond. And so I might see things that aren't available to you. So what do you have available, and what are you guys thinking about when it comes to the race of your character?
Well, I definitely see some odd ones on my screen, like the Aarakocra. Sorry, is those the bird people?
Yep,
Okay.
the
Those are the bird
Aarakocra,
people.
the bird people.
But I know dwarf, elf, gnome, half elf, half orc, halfling, human. Vaguely familiar with Tiefling and Aasimar. Those weren't really player character races when I was playing, but there they are.
Yep, yeah, the Aasimar came into 5th edition in one of the extra source books, but the Tiefling was actually in the player's handbook for 5th edition as one of the optional character races. So and they have continued, apparently D&D does, as the edition lives, they continue to add more and more options, so that one day our brains explode because we have too many options.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I guess now's the point in time where we should just kind of discuss where in general we want to take our character, because we want a party, and we want a party that's not going to be terribly dysfunctional. I should hope.
Speak for yourself.
Maybe we do.
Whether you're dysfunctional or not, I will run a game for you. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, no, I think this is a good time to start discussing between you and Nathan. What do you want from your party? I mean, what are you thinking you're gonna want to do?
Right. Yeah, Nathan, I mentioned this to Pete off the air. But I had two ideas in my head that I was going to try to run with, one or the other. And one of them was a very loud, very obnoxious fighter, or an extremely quiet, no-nonsense rogue.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, either of those would pretty much work with what I had in mind. I was thinking about somebody basically that would kind of mess with people's heads, kind of be really good in non-combat as far as confusing people or getting people to do what they want, but also in combat maybe trying to take people out of the fight type deals, negate people for a little while. So sort of a support class in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So when you start to talk about that, I'm thinking not so much for the race choice, but for the class choice that we have coming up next. I know there's a lot of different bard spells that are really good at debuffing the bad guys, messing with their heads, causing that psychic damage that you might be thinking about doing. So that's at least a class to be thinking about if you're thinking about being that support character who is going to make sure that your friends are buffed and your enemies are debuffed.
Warlock is kind of on that same line, but in a darker vein, right?
Yep, Warlock can. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
So, but again, if right now, if we're oh, I'm not sure about race, I want to do class first, we can always just click the next button and come back to race later, which is the nice thing. You're not stuck to doing it in this linear fashion. This is just the way the website is set up.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go to class first.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Since we just discussed class, and I'm not sure what class I'm going to be. But Nathan, you think you're going to be a bard?
Yeah, I was debating a bard or a warlock, maybe at some point multi-classing into bard and warlock.
Okay, I think that sounds really interesting.
That's if you're going to be a bard and you have access to support magic and you can deal with people, I think I want to run my no-nonsense rogue beside you. We could do some Black Ops stuff, pretty hardcore.
I think that sounds a lot of fun. All right, so Dan, you're leaning towards doing your no-nonsense rogue, and Nathan, you're thinking again between the bard and the warlock. What do you think when you first start? Which class would you start with?
I'm thinking maybe warlock.
Okay.
Now, and I have some interesting backstory thoughts to go along with that, but maybe I should hold on to those.
Yeah. Let's hold on to those for a little bit. And but yeah, if you know which class you want, then you're just going to click on the class. And when you do that, it gives you a page that just kind of tells you a little bit about the class, at which levels you're going to get your ability score improvements and your different class features. So like with Warlock, Nathan, you'll be seeing, at first level you get to choose your otherworldly patron, you get to choose your pact magic, and those are your two kind of things that you're going to get right away at first level. And then Dan, you're looking at your rogue, so you're going to also see the different levels that you get your ability score improvement, but then you also see that at first level you're going to get expertise, which is going to allow you to choose two of your skill proficiencies, and you're going to get some bonus with those. They're going to get doubled in your proficiency bonus, so that's going to be awesome. Plus you get sneak attack, which is going to let you do a bunch more damage times, and then also Thieves' Cant, which is just an extra kind of like side language that that other people don't. So there's just a green button that says Add Class, and once you've clicked that, then you've added it to your character.
Okay. Yep, I'm a rogue. It looks like I get 4 proficiencies too. Choose 4. Do I get a buff in these selected skills?
What happens is with these skills, you're going to have a modifier, which you're automatically going to get, but then these specific ones that you choose, you will also be adding your proficiency bonus to those as well. So if your modifier is going to be just like a +2 or a +3, then you also get your proficiency, which at first level is a +2. So you'll end up getting like a +4 or +5 right out the gate on these skills.
Okay. So I guess, I've definitely got a question. So I see on this list of possible choices, I see insight, investigation, and perception. What is the core skill in each of those categories? Because they seem rather close to me.
Yep. So investigation is used a lot of the time in the game if you're searching a room for clues. Perception is when you first walk into the room, how aware are you of the situation when you walk in? Do you notice if somebody is hiding in this room behind that wardrobe ready to attack you? If you walk into a room and I know that there's something there, then I might ask you to make a perception check to see if you are aware. But if you tell me I want to start looking for clues, then I'm going to tell you to roll investigation. But insight is pretty different. Insight is if you are speaking with a non-player character and you want to know, are they being honest with you, or what are their intentions in this situation? Because you as a player are probably starting to wonder about their intentions. Then I'll say, okay, go ahead and make an insight roll. Let's see how aware your character is with that other character. Like, can you tell what they're planning to do, or are they lying or telling the truth? So,
okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to pick investigation here because that seems like the skill that's most relevant for casing a joint. This is very
absolutely
important for me.
And then also here in a little bit, you will choose a background for your character. And your background will also add a couple more skills that you are proficient in. So I just to give you a heads up, you will gain more. So because you're a rogue, you're automatically getting more choices than most people get for their proficient skills, and then you're also going to get a couple more when you choose your background. So I think rogues start out with like 6 different skills that they are proficient in. So.
Well, it says pick 4 from the following list, and there's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on the list.
And a couple more might show up when you choose your background. And what would normally happen is if in the background you get one that you had already chosen. So say you choose investigation right now, and then you go and you pick your background, but your background gives you investigation. Then you can come back to this page and choose one of the other skills.
All right. Cool beans.
Mine seem pretty straightforward. I can choose from Arcana, Deception, History, Investigation, Nature, or Religion. And I think I'm going for Deception and Intimidation.
I am seeing the character that Nathan wants to play slowly coming to life, and I am excited.
Now, my other thing I have to choose from is the otherworldly patron. Now I have three choices. I have the fiend, the genie, or the lurker in the deep. That doesn't really tell me much of anything about.
Interesting. Let me jump over to that class as well, because I want to see those real quick. So you've got the warlock. We're going to add the class
Detailed at the end of the class description.
here. So otherworldly patron, choose an option. So those are the only ones that you see, are those three though?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. And that's probably because you on your D&D Beyond account don't have you just have like the basic plan, and you don't have any of the books. So you have some of the side options. The lurker in the deep is most readily equated with, like, if your warlock has made a pact with a kraken, or some creature that lives down in the depths of the ocean but has some kind of greater power that it could impart to you, some sort of power of its own. And so, like, the kraken would be one option, but you could kind of make it whatever you want it to be.
I'm not looking at the same page as you guys, but is that from the deep also possibly aberrations and whatnot?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was gonna say, what's one of the other ones? The aboleth.
Okay.
Yeah, is a creature that lives down in the deep parts of the world, but has like a very psychic nature. So
I think I'll go with the fiend, which is basically like a lesser demon, right, or something like that.
Yep, absolutely. The fiend, could just be some kind of demon or devil. So for sure. All right, so you've got your otherworldly patron then, and have you also already chose your pact magic? So that one I don't think you really have to choose anything. It is just there, and it just kind of lets you know. It's explaining to you where you get your magic from. So you get your magic from this pact that you have with this otherworldly patron, as opposed to a wizard who gets their magic from study and learning, or a sorcerer which just has magic ingrained in their very essence and their being. You have gained your magic. You are siphoning it from this greater being who is giving it to you, probably, though, wanting you to do something for them eventually. So you have made a pact with this fiend. All right, so I think you guys have chosen all of those things. Do you want to head back to race at this point and see maybe what race might fit into the idea of the character that's coming into mind?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay. I think I know where I'm going. I just have to take a close look at. I'm just going to spend a couple minutes here looking at the two different variants of gnomes that are available.
Oh, okay. So you're probably seeing forest or rock gnome, or which ones are you seeing?
I'm seeing a deep gnome and a rock gnome.
Okay, deep gnome and rock gnome. So the deep gnome, I always enjoy just because their name is the Svirfneblin.
Right, from Norse mythology.
That's right, and it's just a real fun name to say. So, but yeah, the Svirfneblin, the deep gnome, known to live far underground, or possibly, like you said, the rock gnome. And what about you, Nathan? What are you looking at?
Well, I was thinking Tiefling is kind of a little too on the nose, but I do like the idea of something high charisma. It really feeds into what I need, or what I'm working for.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with on the nose. I mean, if it fits what it is that you're wanting to do, I think go for it.
Sure, I'll go for a Tiefling.
Artificer's lore. I do like gnome cunning and dark vision. I'm not sure if this is a good fit. Maybe I'm gonna go with dwarf.
So you're thinking possibly a dwarf. What options for sub races do you have for dwarf?
Hill and mount dwarf are the two.
Yeah. So you have your stout and strong mountain dwarfs.
I'm sorry, do they both get stone cutting?
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
They both should have that. So the big difference, I think, between the hill and the mountain here, I don't remember what the big difference is between the two of them.
Looks like it's just the last item on the list, which is dwarven armory training for the hill dwarf, or I'm sorry, that's the mountain dwarf, or dwarven toughness for the hill.
Yeah, gives you a little bit more extra HP with those hill dwarves. I was going to say, I think for you, I mean, if you're thinking that, you probably don't really need the armor training, I wouldn't think.
No. I may give up here and do an elf here too.
Oh, okay.
I mean, no, I have to be the stoic dwarf, right? Like I'm the strong silent type that just gets the job done.
I like it. I think that's great.
Yeah, so we're gonna go with the hill dwarf.
All right.
Get a little bit extra HP in there. Dark vision is useful too.
Yes, dark vision is very useful, and quite a few of the races in 5th edition come with the dark vision. Except there's a couple that don't, but I feel like a lot of them come with that. So except for those puny humans, they definitely don't get it.
Yep.
All right. So we've chosen race, we've chosen class. Now we get to go to abilities to check our ability scores. And in D&D 5th edition, we have our 6 abilities of strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And the way that they do ability scores at the beginning when making a character in 5th edition is you can choose to use the standard array of numbers, which are 15, 14, 12, 11, 10, and 8. So those are the 6 numbers.
My screen lists the standard array as 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8.
13, 12, 10, and 8, not 11, yeah. So 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. So the standard array is going to give you 4 decent numbers and 2 not great numbers. And so that's 10 and 8 because from this standard array is where you're going to get your modifiers, and 8 is going to give you a -1 in one of those abilities. Unless...
Yeah, and the 10 is just an average.
Yep,
So.
10 is just, you just get a 0. There's no negative, no plus. But all the other ones, the 12 and 13 will give you a +1. The 14 is going to give you a +2. And same with the 15, also give you a +2. But you will also have noticed that when you chose your race, they should have some bonuses to that. So your dwarf is going to be getting a +2 in their constitution. So whichever one of those numbers you would put into your constitution, it's automatically going to go up by 2. So that means you could start with all the way up to a 17 in your constitution if you wanted to. Right? Super strong, super hardy. You can drink the strongest of ales. Absolutely. But yeah, so you could choose the standard array, or you also have the option of point buy or manual. I've never used the point buy before, so I really don't know much about it. But manual is just rolling some dice and getting some numbers, and then deciding where you want to place those. So again, if you're a push your luck, if you're a gambler and you want to take the opportunity to try to get a higher number, you can roll for it. And the way that I have rolled for it is the way that I know a lot of people will do it, and that is you roll 4d6, drop the lowest number.
Well, I think I'm going to roll with the standard array. We're just going to be playing in one shot, and I've used the standard array in the past for like NPCs and whatnot. So.
Okay, Nathan, what about you?
I think I'll go standard array. Just to make it simpler for the first time.
Yep, absolutely.
It feels like the manual roll would be kind of interesting and fun, but it's like I'd almost want to like do that roll first and then develop my character based on what I rolled.
Right. Yeah. And there are definitely people who will do it that way. You just roll up your 6 numbers, and then from those numbers, that kind of gets you starting, gets the juices flowing for what your character is going to be. So if you're doing standard array, you got to decide what you want to do. Our rogue friend over here is going to definitely have some high constitution, probably no matter what they do. But what about the rest of your stuff?
Yeah, well, picking what your dump stat is, what your 8, which is only a -1 modifier, by the way. So it's not like you're terrible at it. You're just slightly worse than average.
So yeah, you want to start by divvying out the low number first. Okay.
Well, that one's easy for me.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be charisma. I'm pretty sure my dump stat is going to be charisma. I'm a no-nonsense rogue. Talk to people. No. Just get the job done.
Just you're not worried about intimidating, you're not worried about persuading, you just want to stab and get the job done.
Oh, no. If we're stabbing, the mission is a failure. We want to get in, get the stuff, and get
Oh,
out.
okay. All
No
right.
problem.
He's like, I don't want to fight. I don't want to even fight at all. I just want to get the job done. I gotcha. And Nathan, you said you think you're gonna dump your strength, huh?
Yeah. It's like my whole point is to stay out of battle. Like, let other people deal with the problems. I'll just,
I
distract people.
I love this. I love this. The two of you are like, we're not gonna go anywhere near a fight if we don't have to. We're gonna work our way around it all, and then I can't wait to see what James comes up with later when we talk to him. Because I am assuming he is going to come up with some kind of like huge barbarian or paladin who wants to be in all the fights, and he's never going to get the chance because you guys always work your way around it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, this is interesting because if I were going to roll with my loud and obnoxious fighter, he would be exactly the sort of person to start all the fights.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Whether he meant to or not.
Yeah,
The fight would definitely be started. So, all right. So Dan, you are gonna dump your charisma because people who needs them. What else? What else are you gonna do?
Well, I think I'm gonna put my highest stat in Dex because I want to be sneaky.
Okay, that makes sense. Absolutely. And then a good thing just to know again is that your Constitution is going to be modifying your hit points throughout the game. And so whatever you have as a plus to your Constitution will add to your hit point as you play.
Yeah, I don't need them.
Again, you don't need hit points. You're not going to get any fights, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, this is an interesting choice because I could stick my 10 in there and still get a +1 modifier. Plus, I get an extra hit point for my racial ability. Or I could make it, a 12 to make it, even a little bit better. What would be my 10 though? Then nope, it's gonna be my 10. No. We'll make it my 12. We'll make like wisdom my 10, my average stat. There we go.
It is uncanny how many times I've played this game and everybody dumps either intelligence or wisdom. They're like, no, I don't need to be smart. It'll be fine. But no, I think this might be one of the first times I've ever seen anybody go Nathan's route and dump their strength because he's right. Like dexterity is where he's leaning. So it's interesting to see that because for some reason, even though most people when they choose to run a character who's focused on dexterity, they like no, I kind of want to have strength just as a backup, just in case. But no, Nathan's like no, dump it. Don't need that.
Yeah, I'm going all in on charisma.
I love it. Okay, so you're putting your
That
big
makes
number in
sense.
charisma. All right, so he's going big number in charisma.
I'm sorry, as a warlock, what's the statistic that they use for their spellcasting?
I'm pretty sure for a warlock. Oh shoot, I want to say it's either charisma or intelligence, but I'm gonna have to double check that. I'm not remembering it right off the top of my head.
Yeah, because I think the only charisma caster is sorcerers and bards, right?
I know bards for sure. Warlock and spells. So they are going to be using. Where's it at?
So for the most
I think it's
part, this is
charisma. I'm pretty sure it's the charisma.
It's charisma.
Yep. So by putting his big number in charisma, that's definitely a good thing to do, so that he's got the most bonus to his magic.
Yep. I've finished picking mine, I think.
All right, Dan. So give us the rundown of your character here. What's their ability scores?
All right. So I put my 13 in strength. Like you said, I wanted a little bit of strength, but like I felt another stat was more important. My dex is 15.
Okay.
My constitution is 12, modified to 14.
Okay.
My intelligence is 14. I really wanted to be slightly better than above average on that because I wanted to be able to think through my problems more than fight through my problem. Like I want to be able to, get in, get out, no problem. Wisdom average of 10, and then charisma. I'm the strong silent type, so 8.
I like it. All right, and then Nathan, how are you doing on yours?
Yeah, I'm all set. I got my strength at 8, as we've said, so I'm a weakling. My dexterity's not too bad at 12. Constitution, I have at 10, so I won't get too much HP.
Mm-hmm.
Intelligence, I have a 14 plus a +1 racial modifier, so that's a 15.
Okay.
Wisdom, 13. And then my charisma, I went all out on. I have the 15, but with a racial bonus of 2, so 17.
All right, very nice.
Well, darn.
That gives me a +3 modifier on charisma to start.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see here. So then we're gonna skip on out of ability scores now that we've got that all figured out, and head over to description. So I don't know. As you guys have like figured out your class and your race, have you guys given any kind of thought to the character and maybe a name for your character? I know that sometimes once you figure out your race, some people will just jump in and take a look at whatever the kind of the basic names are, or they might look up a fantasy name generator. But I don't know. You guys might have names picked out already.
Well, I might actually just do my namesake, so ergophobe.
Oh, okay. Absolutely.
This is more or less following who I am, other than maybe the little bit more charisma than I really have.
Yeah, I don't have. I'll start with the last name because that's pretty easy for a dwarf. We'll go with like Iron Smasher or something.
Okay.
First name, I don't know.
Again, he's a strong silent type. Maybe nobody knows his first name. Maybe he
but he has one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's got it. He's just he only gives that out to very special individuals. Who knows? So, but also on this page under description is where you're going to choose your background, and your background is going to give you a couple more skills that you are proficient in. And so it kind of feeds into what is it that your character was doing before they became an adventurer. So that's kind of what you're looking at here for your background. So before the inciting incident that decided to make you get out on the road, what is the thing that you were doing?
Okay, so I'm looking at this, and there aren't many backgrounds. I could pick a custom background, it says. I'm not sure what that entails, but the default ones that it has for us to select is Acolyte, Criminal, or Spy. That's one option.
Mm-hmm.
Folk Hero, Haunted One, Noble, Sage, or Soldier.
Okay. So I'm also though seeing this custom background, and I've never noticed this before. It looks like you name what you want, and then you get to choose.
Yeah, I'm going to click on that to see exactly what I name of it. So let's see. I get a proficiency or language choice, a background feature, and a background characteristic. Oh, interesting. It allows you to mix and match the backgrounds that are by default. Like you can mix and match their features.
That's very interesting. I never had noticed that before on here. I always chose one of the ones that was in the drop-down menu. So that could be pretty interesting if you wanted to mess around with that a little bit. But
all right, no, I'm not messing around with it. I'm a criminal spy.
criminal spy.
No doubt. No doubts in my mind. Criminal.
All right. And then what about you,
I may still be a criminal, Pete. FYI.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure you have not left behind that background.
Okay, so I'm looking at this. Haunted one's interesting, but I already have like a character I was playing around with that I have as a haunted one, so I don't want to do the same.
Okay.
So Soldier definitely does not fit my character.
Well, you're very charismatic. I wonder.
You could have been an acolyte. You could have tried to follow some god and or goddess before, stumbling across a dark fiend and making a pact. That would have been a really interesting story.
Right? Possibly.
Insight, religion, or I could be a sage. I can kind of warp it a little bit. Maybe a false sage. There's somebody that people look up to think he's a sage, and he's not really.
Could be.
Yeah, and then I get to speak a couple languages. Yeah, I think I'll go for Sage. I know a fair amount. I looked into the lore, and maybe that's how I found my my little dark pact, as I read a book I shouldn't have read.
Okay, fantastic. So then below your background, there's an area where you can just add in character details, usually your alignment or faith if you have any. Alignment is always an interesting thing because I think a lot of people will choose an alignment and sometimes that doesn't inform the way they play. So sometimes I think it's interesting to leave alignment open until you start to play your character for a little bit and you start to see what kind of decisions you're making when you are faced with them, and kind of see, okay, based on the way I'm making these decisions, this is letting me know kind of where my alignment lies. Am I chaotic good, or am I neutral, or am I leaning more a little lawful evil? I mean, could be all dependent on the way that you confront the dilemmas that you run into. Or you can choose an alignment and let that guide the way you start making those decisions.
Well, before we get...
It's an interesting point about alignment. Like if I had to pick one right now, I think I'd almost pick something evil, but I don't want to pick something evil because, we're supposed to be heroic.
Mm-hmm.
So I might just leave it blank and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said for leaving your alignment blank just for a little while, just so as you start to get to know your character, it can inform what you put down on your sheet. So
before we get to that, it gave me a choice. I'm supposed to learn 2 languages as a sage.
Okay.
Now, I got a lot of languages to choose from. I don't know what most of them are. Like, I don't know what a Gith is.
So I mean, if a Gith is a race from like kind of like an extraplanar race that go around in spaceships and go kind of planet hopping, and they are enemies of mind flayers. So
Okay.
and there's 2 different kinds of Gith as well. So there's a little bit of lore in the world for them, but they're kind of alien type beings.
Okay, so I want to maybe go for something that's more like a common languages, but not, something that shows I'm traveled. Maybe Marquesian would be one of those.
Okay, what was that? What was it again?
Marquesian?
I can actually tell you, I don't know that one.
Oh, wow.
That one is not ringing a bell.
Oh, that's actually maybe exclusive to the Critical Role content, which I do have that.
I was going to say, that might be, and if that is the case, I do not know all of the stuff for the Critical Role side of things.
Okay, so maybe I'll steer away from that for now. So Elvish, maybe? And what's... I probably should speak Dwarvish if I'm going to be hanging out with a dwarf.
Well, that could be helpful.
I'm sorry, you have a pact with a fiend. Can you speak fiend?
No, I don't think I could actually understand anything fiend tells me.
Oh, okay. Good show. Yeah, you don't need this. I mean, because I know common.
Yeah. Normally, something that I like to tell new players to do as well is think about. I try to tell them, like, at first level, you're probably gonna roll up against some goblins, or maybe some like orcs, and so it's always good to maybe choose a language that one of the races that you're going to come up against speak, so that you have the opportunity to understand them when they are yelling their epitaphs at you, or the epithets at you. It's completely up to you.
Yeah, I suppose I can't really mess with my enemies too much if I can't speak their language.
It would be easier for sure if you speak their language.
And most cultured races speak common, so right?
Yep. Most of the main player races will speak common, for sure. And then you run into your every once in a while with your creatures that don't. So orcs, goblins. So
maybe goblin and giant might be interesting.
Oh, there you go. Giant would be interesting. You never know. Never know when you're going to run into a giant.
Be cool to be able to enslave a giant with mind trick. Maybe I can ride on him. Okay.
So is there anything else, Dan, on yours that it says that you need to add when you chose your background? Did it give you some more skills to choose from?
Yeah, it gave me 1 skill proficiency, which I chose perception.
Okay.
It gave me 2 tool proficiencies. The first one has to be a gaming set, which is a form of gambling. Yep. I just picked dice because why not dice?
Absolutely.
The second one was I have this big long list of tools I can pick for my second one, which includes a bunch of like instruments and like craftsman's kits and whatnot. I just went with smith tools because I'm a dwarf.
Okay, absolutely. Makes sense.
And then, the only other thing I've picked out here is I was scrolling through some options. I did not pick an alignment. I picked a poor lifestyle just because I'm probably embedded with the seedier side of society.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you've got better things to spend your money on. Whenever you get money, you've got better things to spend it on.
And then I did pick a personality trait.
I was going to ask about the personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws, and all that, because that's kind of the next character-defining things. I mean, it's one thing to know what kind of color hair you have, or eyes, or whatever, but personality traits, ideals, and bonds and flaws are all kind of dependent on what background you chose. And so, what personality traits did you go with, Dan?
So I picked a personality trait that reads, I am always calm. No matter what the situation, I never raise my voice nor let my emotions control me because I am a consummate professional.
It's like they knew exactly what kind of character you wanted to play. That's perfect.
Right. It is something that we don't necessarily have to pick, right?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. These are things that are optional.
I'm tempted to pick flaw. When faced with a choice between money and my friends, I usually choose the money, but I won't. We'll see how that plays out in the game.
I was gonna say again, alignment. You choose your alignment later. Your flaws might become self-aware after a little while as you play. So, and what about you, Nathan? Have you taken a look at the personal characteristics, personality traits, and all that?
Yeah, I use polysyllabic words to convey the impression of great erudition. And most people scream and run when they see a demon. I stop and take notes on its anatomy.
Perfect. I love it.
Excellent
stuff, guys. So we've gone through most of these things at this point. Both of you have your race, your class, your abilities, your background. And again, some of these things with your character details, you can add in later if you want. If you decide to come up with a little bit of a backstory, they've got a space for that under notes. And again, the backstory could be something that you share with the dungeon master or the other players or not. You keep it to yourself if you want. I always like to try to ask my players to give me at least a paragraph, no more than 2 paragraphs. I do not need to read 9 pages of backstory. But a paragraph or 2 is always nice because it can help seed future adventures to kind of play into the person's backstory. But the next big thing to choose is your starting equipment. What are the things that you are going to have when you begin adventuring?
Before we hop over to starting equipment, I just want to echo your position about notes. I don't think I did it for D&D, but there were some other game systems where I would just encourage the players to submit something about their background and or personality, and then another thing about their motivation.
Yeah, I think motivation is key. You want to know
what is your character out there to do.
Yeah, because I mean, and if all they're out there to do is kill monsters, that's fine. At least that's still a motivation. But I think it's important to know what does your character want from this world. Because that's like you said, that's going to lead to making it a little bit easier for the game master or the dungeon master to create adventures that will be meaningful to the characters. So
yeah, I definitely have some ideas for my backstory, but I think that would be something to talk to Peter directly with, and not necessarily let everybody know.
Yeah. No, for sure. So we'll off podcast, we'll talk about it and find out what kind of information you got for your backstory. So, and then hopefully Dan will get me some information later as well for his character. So even if we're just doing a one shot, I might see if I can tie some stuff in. Mm-hmm. So, all right. Well, you guys want to jump over to equipment and check that out?
Yeah. Let's gear up, as it were.
Absolutely. So when you jump over to the equipment page, You get to choose. The way D&D 5th edition works is you get to choose either your starting equipment, which again chosen partly by the background that you have chosen and things. You get some starting equipment or gold. If you choose to start with gold, it gives you a certain amount, and you can take that and spend the gold however you wish to buy your starting equipment. Most people tend to go the equipment route, though, because knowing what class and which background you've chosen, it will give you a list of equipment that you can choose from, and I find that a little bit easier. You will still start the game with some gold, usually somewhere between like 5 to 10 gold, unless you're a noble background. I think you get like 25 if you're a noble background. But I usually choose to go with the equipment.
Yeah, that works for me because I don't want to have to go through a big long list of gear to picking and choosing what I start with.
Exactly.
I'd rather just say, hey, I want this package.
Yeah.
This isn't so bad. Looks like I get a pick of like a melee weapon, and then a pick of a ranged weapon, and then a pick of one of 3 different like backpacks with various equipment packages in them.
Yeah.
So.
What about you, Nathan? What kind of options are they offering you for your starting equipment?
Can start with a crossbow or a simple weapon, a component pouch or an arcane focus, scholar's pack or dungeoneering pack, and then some light armor and some simple weapons and daggers.
Okay.
Oh, I get some stage equipment too. I get some ink, a quill, a small knife, a letter from a dead colleague posing a question you have not yet been able to answer.
Yeah, there you go. I like it.
Yeah, that sounds cool, actually.
That's interesting.
I like those little additions that they put into the equipment that automatically starts to feed into like possible adventure seed, where you've got this note. So maybe all of a sudden you and I sit down and we talk about, okay, who was this person? What is this note? And what is this question that you have been ruminating over now for a while and you can't quite figure it out, because that could be fun.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my simple weapon, I think.
So I think short sword. I'm definitely leaning the short sword. I get a choice between a bow or another short sword. I think I'm definitely gonna go with a bow. I don't want to double.
I think it's interesting that you guys are choosing any weapons at all, because last I heard you weren't going to be in any fights. You were going to get around all of the fights.
Well, what do you call it? You need to be properly equipped.
Gotcha. Just in case. Absolutely. That's So.
I definitely have to go with the burglar's pack. How can I not go with the burglar's pack?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure in the burglar's pack.
I see it includes a crowbar.
Yep, you get your crowbar. I think you get some ball bearings.
A hammer, python, ball bearings, 10 feet of string, and 50 feet of hempen rope side of the pack is what's in there. So there's definitely some tools of the trade there.
I like it.
Including tools, and a hooded lantern.
So my simple weapon is going to be a yiklawa, however you pronounce that, which is basically a knife on a stick.
Yeah, I can't go wrong with a knife on a stick.
I don't think I'll use it much, but keep things nice, safe distance away from me.
That's exactly it. You don't want to get in too close.
Yeah. So the big question is the component pouch versus arcane focus. So if my understanding, arcane focus basically something I can use to have to limit how many components I have to constantly have, right?
Well, so the component pouch and the arcane focus are pretty much taking the place of needing to have components for spells. Now, there are some spells that when you start to read through the player's handbook, and if they list a component that has a price listed next to it, so maybe it says you need to have a diamond worth 100 gold pieces. Well, the way that D&D 5th edition works is if it has that numerical value to it listed in the spell, then you actually do have to have that component. A component pouch or an arcane focus cannot replace that component. But if it just lists, you need the feather of a robin, then you don't actually need to go adventuring to find that feather of a robin your component pouch or your arcane focus automatically is like in lieu of going out and finding all those individual components, this replaces those, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think that, rather than having just a simple thing that I'm using all the time, it does kind of seem more fun for the RP to have like a bag full of random stuff that's like I'm using to cast my spells. And this kind of fits the character, I think.
Okay, good.
I have a choice between Scholar Pack or Dungeoneer's Pack. I think I'll go for the Scholar Pack, even though some of the items I already have. So
I was gonna say, yeah, you probably get some of that with the background that you chose.
Yeah. So I'd get a backpack, a book of lore,
Mm-hmm.
extra bottle of ink, an extra ink pen, 10 sheets of parchment, a little bag of sand is all I'm excited about.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. What do you got planned for that little bag of
Oh,
sand?
there's a lot I think I can do with a bag of sand.
Fantastic. and a small knife for
Yeah.
sharpening those quills.
I'm gonna get another armor and another simple weapon. I don't know if I need another simple weapon, but whatever, I'll take it.
Yeah, you never know. Again, a sling might not be bad, just so again from a distance, keeping those bad guys at a distance.
Yeah, and I can just pick up rocks and move around, I suppose.
There you go. So
Yeah, I
yes,
think I'll
yeah,
go
so you get a simple weapon. You also get 2 daggers, so you can always throw those also.
Actually, a little bit of water and then my bag of sand, I could use that as ammo for my sling.
True. All right, Nathan. So where are you at with your guy?
I think I'm pretty much done. We didn't choose alignment, but I think we were.
So yeah, so for yours then, you should be able to choose that final button then to actually create the character, and then you can view your character sheet.
Yeah, so I didn't get to
That's
choose
pretty
any spells yet, but assuming that's just because it's first level, I don't get much, or is it preset?
Well, they should be
that's an
somewhere
interesting
in
point.
there. They should be somewhere in there. Let's see here. I'm going to try to grab one of my characters. I don't play characters who have spells very often, to be totally honest. Play a lot of fighters and monks and stuff like that. So on D&D Beyond, you should have a space, though, for spells somewhere.
Okay, so when I go to the character sheet,
Yeah.
I got a cantrip, which is thaumaturgy, and I can manage spells. You don't have any first level spells. It says I do not have any first level spells or spells that scale to first level available, but you can cast lower level spells than first, either lower level than first.
There's 0 level cantrips potentially.
Yeah, so he said he has thaumaturgy as a cantrip, but I'm pretty sure that at first level, you should know 2 first level spells of your choice from the warlock spell list.
Okay, yeah, here we go. So if I go to manage spells, I can add spells.
There you go. So you should know 2 spells at first level.
So, okay, so I have to pick which ones to learn.
Yep. So let's see here. Additionally, as a warlock, when you gain a level in that class, you can choose one of the warlock spells you know and replace it with another spell from the warlock spell list, which also must be of a level for which you have spell slots. So as you gain levels, you're allowed to switch out one of the previous spells that you chose, but you don't have to. That's up to you. And then you will also gain spells as you go. So again, each of the different spellcasters, the way that their magic works as they level, it can be different. So like with wizards, I don't believe they get to forget spells. When they choose a spell, they write it down into their spell book, and they're like kind of stuck with that spell as they go along. But warlocks, you get a chance to change out some of your spells as you go.
Okay, so I have a few choices. So I can do 2 cantrips and 2 known spells actually. So cantrips, they all seem to be pretty attack based, which I don't really care to attack stuff, but I should have something in attack, I suppose.
You probably should have at least one.
Although minor illusion seems like an important one, but there's also illusionary script for a non-cantrip. So write on the parchment and view it with a potent illusion that lasts for the duration for 10 days. Wow. So I write on a piece of paper and it creates illusion for 10 days on that paper, I guess.
Yeah, it's like for sending secret messages or other things that you don't want to get out.
Oh, and it can appear different to different people.
That's interesting.
So I can basically have illusion over something I wrote, so only the people I want to see the real message can see it. That's an interesting one. So charm person is very useful. Command's very useful. I think command is one of the ones I'm going to learn. And minor illusion and some sort of attack-based cantrip that doesn't require me to touch people, so that's not chill touch is not going to be the one. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to take a Mind Sliver. You drive a disorienting spike of psychic energy into the mind of one creature. Okay, that sounds like my kind of thing. And my first level, I think I will take that illusory script. So my stronger spells aren't very combat-y, but...
Mm-hmm. And an interesting thing about you choosing command, not all warlocks actually get the choice of command. You get that specifically because you chose the fiend as your patron.
Okay, so I have my spells now.
All right, you've got your spells, you've got your equipment, so I think you're pretty much ready to go with your ergophobe is ready to adventure. And Dan, how are things looking for you?
Yeah. I'm doing well, I think. Yep. I changed my name.
Okay.
I'm now Ginmac Delver.
Okay. Yeah, very nice.
And then I've just got, some skills and some armor and some weapons.
Yep. No, that sounds good. So I think you guys are pretty much put together. And so all we'll have to do is at some point I got to get James pulled aside and get his character together, and we will send you guys off on your very first adventure. So I'm looking forward to it. I love running D&D. I'm excited to get you guys playing a little bit, at least every once in a while. So this is going to be fun. Do you guys have any thoughts about the character creation?
Yeah, before we go on, I kind of wanted to ask, Dan, what's your starting HP, your hit points?
Yeah, so I'm a rogue. My HP die is D8, so I'm actually starting at 11.
I got a whopping 8.
Fantastic.
Armor class 11.
Hey, armor class 11, that's not bad. That's not bad. It's not great, but that's not bad.
My armor class appears to be 13.
13.
I'm assuming 10 plus my dex mod of 2, and your armor only adds another 1.
Yeah, so...
And armor class is just how hard it is for people to hit you, right?
That's exactly it. So yeah, your armor class is going to be the number that I need to roll for the bad guys if they're going to hit you. So as long as I roll less than that, you're totally fine.
So I just got to make sure nobody ever tries to hit me.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. You're just going to use your charisma to talk them out of attacking you.
Yep.
So, and I don't know if you guys have noticed it then on the D&D Beyond page. Are you on your character sheet now?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the character sheet now.
I was going to say, so on the bottom left-hand side of the page is the new dice that they added to the game. It's a red circle with a die in the middle. And if you click on that, then it will show you your different options for dice. The one at the top is the D20, which is what you'll roll most of the time.
I just rolled a nat 19.
Nice. So
now I'm going to be very sad because I wasted a good roll when I didn't need it.
I rolled an 8.
Perfect. Just keep rolling like that, Nathan. That'll be great. All right. Well, does anybody have any more thoughts about character creation or what it is that you're looking forward to about your characters?
I am quite excited about my character. I thought it was pretty easy to make. It was it helped to have you walk me through it. But I'm really excited to go and screw with people.
Right.
Which means mostly I'll be screwing with you, right?
That's exactly it. And I will try to do likewise.
Wow.
So
My charisma saving throw is +5.
That's really good. Yeah, that's good.
Deception is +5. Intimidation is +5. That's nice.
All right. And yeah, you just as long as you don't have to climb anything using your athletics, you'll be fine because athletics is strength based. So
I got acrobatics.
You do have
So,
acrobatics?
Yeah, what do you call it? Yeah, I picked acrobatics rather than athletic. That'll help me. That'll
Oh
help.
yeah, for sure, absolutely.
But I basically built my character as a breaking and entering specialist, so I might opt to change that in the future.
So do we want to discuss what we think James should take?
Yes,
Based on
yes.
what we
What do we think James should be?
Well, he could be the loud, obnoxious fighter that's
I
gonna
was gonna say,
ruin all of our plans.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's gonna
would be
happen.
This would be appropriate, I should think. Of course, I'm almost cool with just about anything that he might come up with. I'm willing to roll with, of course.
Yeah.
Like it'd be hilarious. Like both me and Nathan have created sort of seedier characters. So like James was like a straight-laced paladin, that would be hilarious. If he was a loud and obnoxious fighter, that would be hilarious. Or, an equally loud and obnoxious barbarian, that would be hilarious. But at least a barbarian, we could like point you, take care of that thing over there, right?
Yeah, yep. Maybe I could just use my mind tricks on him. If he's not too smart, I can take advantage of him all the time.
And Nathan, I'm forgetting, what race did you choose for your character?
I chose Tiefling.
Tiefling, that's right. So we have a Tiefling and we have a dwarf. So maybe James will be the lone human of the group, or maybe he will be something even more strange. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we are one step closer to adventuring, and I think we're going to have to leave it where we're at now. But I am super excited to play some D&D with you guys. I hope you guys are excited as well.
Thank you for listening. If you have any feedback for us, feel free to visit us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Board Game Geek Guild at 2989, or our website at tabletopgamingguild.com. And don't forget to like, follow, and or subscribe. Tabletop Gaming Guild is a product of Tabletop Gaming Guild, LLC. All rights reserved.